I'm going to be showing you how to harvest, prepare, and use one of the most effective wild plants I've ever come across for fighting colds, sore throats, and other types of viral infections before they even get started. What plant am I talking about? Oregon grape, Mahonia nervosa. And we have a special guest in the video today, this little lady right here. She's going to be joining us the whole time. This plant that's growing all around me is Oregon grape. You can find Oregon grape growing over much of the western United States in the forest understory. At first, you might look at the leaves and think that they look very similar to holly leaves, but upon closer inspection, you'll notice that the leaf arrangement for Oregon grape is opposite. They have opposite leaves, whereas holly has alternate leaves. The inner bark, stems, and leaves of Oregon grape contain an alkaloid called berberine. And berberine has well-documented health benefits, most notably anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and anti-infection properties. Today, we're going to be making a very strong tea called a decoction from the inner bark of Oregon grape. Berberine content in the stems of Oregon grape is very apparent in the really vibrant yellowish orange color you get from cutting open the stem. The best time to harvest Oregon grape for medicine is in the late summer to fall winter. Now, sometimes you'll hear people mention Oregon grape root for use in medicine, but we can just use the stems of the Oregon grape instead of having to tear up the roots of a plant and potentially kill it. By trimming a stem or two from each plant, that allows the plant to continue to grow and to be available for us in subsequent years. It's a very simple process. All we need are some pruners, clippers, whatever, or a sharp knife. And we're just going to cut it at the stem. Just like this. Generally, if you're trying to fight off a cold, we're going to need about a half a cup of Oregon grape inner bark, or about 4 or 5 Oregon grape stems that are about 8 to 10 inches long. Okay, well, I've got 4 stems here, and now it's time to go ahead and bring these back inside the house to process them for our tea. Once I've brought the Oregon grape stems inside, I'm just going to give them a rinse off. You know, there's moss and stuff on here, maybe some dirt. After washing off the stems, it is now time to harvest the inner bark of the Oregon grape. The easiest thing to do first is to go ahead and snip off these leaves. They're actually really hard and pokey, and it's just easier just to be handling the stem. Hey, don't forget to take the time and subscribe to the channel if you like this video. Now I just have stems to deal with and not pokey leaves. What I'm going to do now is start using my pruners. You could also use a knife, a butter knife, whatever, just to scrape this whole bark off of these stems. I'm not worried about getting this outer bark in my tea. It's fine. I'm really going after this inner bark, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape off until I get to the actual wood. You see the difference between white, fresh yellow. And what I'm going to do is just scrape it all into a pile. Try to get all the yellow, and I'll stop when I hit that the white wood. And you might be curious why we're shredding the bark instead of just sticking a stem in boiling water to make a tea. Shredding the bark like this allows for a lot more effective penetration and release of that berberine, which is the good stuff we want. Now that I've finished processing the inner bark, I have about a half a cup, and now I'm just going to put it in 2 cups of water and bring it to a boil, and then I'm just going to simmer it until it's reduced down to about a cup of water. All these volumes that I'm recommending are just ballpark estimates. You know, I don't do exact measurements. It's about 2 cups of water. If it's 2.5, 3, you know, that's fine. And so now I'm just adding in the material that I harvested, and now I'll bring it to a boil, bring it down to a simmer until it reduces to about half of the volume. Once your decoction has reduced to about half of the volume it started with, go ahead and pour it through a filter, get out all that pulp, and then your Oregon grape tincture is ready to go. And how I use this decoction is I will drink about 3 shot glasses worth of this decoction a day, and I'll drink it over the course of 3 or 4 days, but no longer than about a week.